Hello, folks. It's Paul Larkin here. Just a brief intro to what I'm doing. Releasing three stories that I've read that are from a book that's going to be coming out on June the 1st next year, which is a book of short stories involving real people. And all of the people involved, I love them. And they're, friends, acquaintances, maybe people I've met once, maybe people I've never met but I've admired. Not really famous, but hopefully you'll know them in terms of the Celtic world. So I felt, as it's getting near Christmas and things like that, be a nice kind of thing to try and do, and just put a wee tiny bit of content. They're no long, deliberately. Obviously, they're short stories, and they're just designed for your entertainment. And as I say, the book will be out next year, June the 1st, and it'll be all profits to the Kano Foundation, which you can obviously go and Google the Kano Foundation, find out what they do, and why it's a great organisation to support. So, hope you enjoy. This story is called Wider Than Trap 6, and it's set in Edinburgh in 1995. I wrote for luck, they sent me you. The clunk behind me told me I was out, free. Aye, if you fucking say so. In films, this would be the part where the screw would give you a wry smile and tell you they'd be seeing you again soon. This isn't a film though. The screw just said, good luck. I thought it was good of the boy to do that. I should go to my ma's, but I'm heading to Xtra's first, get the heat together. I'll walk down there, save the bus fares. They give you money when you get out, but it's only about a week's brew money, so fuck all really. The premise behind it is to stop cunts getting out and immediately tanning a post office or breaking into a house. Except the odd day is get a load of criminals pushed before they even made it home, and then the vicious circle starts again. Don't fuck about. It's warm as fuck as I pass from Stenhouse Road to Gorgie Road. I heard inside, on the radio, that it had been one of the warmest Julys on record. I'd seen fuck all of it but I knew it was warm. Said cunts were fainting at the tall ships doing Leaf. Wouldn't it be the first time that some cunt has went down after a few palpitations down the docks I was inside for exactly 1 year and 2 months, so I'd seen fuck all much bar walls and doors. To be fair, it's only the back of 6 and it's already fucking roasting I was tempted to slip into a grocer's for a bottle of red cola, but I want to savour my first, so I can let the bevy trickle down my throat like money to the masses in a Marxist system. I make it to the boozer, slip in, put my bag down and order a bottle of Beck's. It's lukewarm, so I tell the cunt behind the bar to give a glass of ice with it. Only in Scotland would you need to beg for a cold drink. As I walked back to where my bag was, a cunt shouted over to me, but I blanked him till I was in my seat. Gunslinger seat as always. I clocked the boy and I had no idea who he was. He says to me, I know you, don't I? Glasgow accent. Could be a ticket. I tell him I had no idea if he did or didn't, but he pipes up, Doyle, eh? Jake Doyle. You panelled the boy outside that club, eh? The cunt does know me. I was across the landing for you in the big house. Fucking big house. What a cunt. Relief comes over me though. He's a tenny-penny scumbag. I nod over to him and ask him if he fancies a beer. No, I've got to get the train back to Bishop Briggs, see the missus. He rolls his eyes as if it's a chore, but I bet he can't fucking wait to get back. I wouldn't be in here if I had somewhere like that to go back to, but she only came to see me once, and that was to tell me that she wouldn't be coming back. Fine. Except I've not seen my daughter now for over a year. In a funny way though, the jail would have been harder if she was coming to see me. I pull out a pen and a bit of paper that was in my bag and get ready. I've been waiting a while for this moment, so I savour it Various things have shaped this moment, off the outside, but now I'm ready to be the fucking Potter. I put the paper on the table, but some cunt comes in and the air for the door almost blows the cowie off the table, but I grab it just in time. Ordinarily, I'd have put the cunt right on his arse, but there's business to attend to here. I put a beer mat on top of it and another on the bottom of it, so it doesn't happen again It's A4 size and I only need space for 3 things, so it's Barry. Then the jukebox pipes up, and for the conversations around the bar I discover it's called Some Might Say by Oasis. I've heard a few of their tunes on Radio 4 from the jail, normally on Alison Craig's show, and that other cunt, the fat boy. Reminds me, I've got to get to Virgin on Princess Street today and check out Black Grape single Reverend Black Grape, Shaun Ryder's new band. I read about it in the enemies that cunt Martin sent me, although I'm fucking positive it wasn't him, it was his bra, the un that's just signed with Hertz, because I recognise his writing for the times he used to practice his autograph. And that cunt Martin is an awfully selfish cunt at times. If he was in the gang, he'd be fucking out of it by now. Having said that, I hope the other wee cunt, Ronnie the Cryam, isn't getting too flash because he's a Hearts player now. I appreciate the gesture and that, but just remember the pecking order, you wee cunt. Anyway, it's fucking dynamite that Shaun Ryder is back, as Happy Mondays are the best fucking band ever. My mind is drifting to the summer of 1990 and taking jellies on the 17th green of Silverhouse Golf Course. When the barman takes my bottle of Becks away and snaps me back to the moment, I drain my glass. The ice now melting the bevy into a cool, golden, ESSO advert type liquid, and I get focused again. Right, aye, the list. Numero uno, get a season ticket for Celtic Park. Things are happening in paradise, boy, don't worry about that. We ended the fucking jinx there in May. Big Pierre burst the net with a header that I was raging about for a split second as I had wee Donnelly in the fucking jail sweep. And the broad drops 2 inches closer to him, and he scores, but big picture. Football is always about the big picture, you cunts, remember that. The big man scores, the trophy drought ends, and the comeback begins. Back to paradise and all this season, and the paper in this boozer says we are after a German boy called Andy Tom. And David Ginola for PSG. Feels like we're emerging from a long dark tunnel, and when I think about it, it was a bit like being in a jail. In fact, no. It was a bit like being in the jail, getting told you were being released, and then on the day you have your gear packed, the cunt comes in and says, you've got to stay another 6 months. That's the Raith Rovers Cup final I'm talking about for all you slow in the uptake cunts. The wee man from Montreal has came in and things have changed. Even for the jail you can tell that. I went in just after the wee man saved us and I was glad I didn't go in when the fucking Kelly and Whites were still in charge, that's for sure. That would have been a fucking nightmare, man. Yet already we're emerging again, like the rising fucking phoenix, the Fenian blood is rising. So, season ticket is a fucking must. Nummer zwei. Patch things up with the missus and see my daughter. Being apart for your offspring is like getting shot and no bothering your arse to get it fixed. It gets sarer and sarer and the pain will eventually kill you. Make no mistake about that. Inside that is multiplied 1,000-fold. The worst thing about being inside is no the lack of freedom. It's no doing the things you normally do or even the cunts around you. No. The worst thing about it is the world just goes on without you and you realise when you die every cunt will forget about you pretty sharpish. So there's no time to fuck about. My daughter's name is Hope, on account of the fact she almost died at birth. Her middle name is Cindy, on account of the fact that Mrs. likes Cindy Lauper. She was born the day after Charlie Nick played the last game for us the first time around, 19th of May 1983, which is funny because my birthday is 26th of May 1967. Now, before all you Humpty cunts go away and come back after checking the record books and tell me Charlie Nick's game was at Ibrox on the 14th of May, you're fucking wrong. It was against Finn Harps and Donegal. I ken because I was there. She's the light of my life, Hope, but that mother of hers fills her head with shite about me, so she can get frosty with me and all. Doesn't matter though, I'd still do anything for her. That's what the mother never understands. Every time she has a go at me, she's hurting the bairn too. I used to cry myself to sleep in jail about her. Hope that is. A lot of cunts see me and think, oh aye, wido, hard man, ticket, and that somehow that means you haven't got feelings or dinna hurt. Just cause I can hold court in a fucking pub doesn't mean I dinna miss my daughter. But you put on an act a cool cunt so folk didn't ask about it and you end up falling apart. You've got to, but not just to save face in front of any hun cunt watching, but to keep going. Freud thinks it burns the other developing in the first 5 years of life, and I'm alright about that. Because me and the missus were cool then. Once Albert Kidd banged in 2 against the Hertz, and I stopped believing that Hope being born had stopped us winning leagues, we were Barry. Used to go to the park and that, or the beach at Silverhouse. We'd walk down there and I would be hud in one hand and she would be hud in the other. I'd look at her indoors and smile. She would smile back and wee Hope would be swinging between us. You didn't realise how magic these things are until you're not doing them, as Johnny Mitchell says. The wife would disagree and say girls just want to have one, but she never was the full fucking shilling. After all, if she was, how could she hurt me so much? Numero 3. get the rest of the cunts who battered wee Sidney Dempsey. Oh aye, the comeback doesn't just come in a park, ya hun cunts. This story is called Celtic Joe, and it's set in Chapel Hall in 1996. The pub was packed when Celtic Joe came in. Joseph Peter Clark was on his birth certificate, but everyone knew him as Celtic Joe. The usual rabble was in, shouting and bawling, bevied. Joe surveyed them for a few seconds, then shook his head, moving towards the bar to order a black and tan. Swallow them, then piss them, Joe thought. He walked over to the company and pulled a seat up. What's the subject today then, boys? They all looked up at him before wee Danny held his stare and said, Well, Joe, Big Matty is claiming he's the biggest him around here. Joe laughed. He'd heard it all before. Big Matty, for fuck's sake. Aye? What's he basing it on now? Big Matty sat silent. He always did in Joe's company. Well, him and his two brothers are all season ticket holders, all Catholics, and we're all at both visits by the Holy Father. Joe sunk a quarter of his pint in one gulp. You's not got better things to do with your time, Joe commanded. They all looked at each other and thought better of carrying it on. Plus, what's this about Catholics? Jokestein excluded now, is he? Joe was getting riled. He looked at his paper. He studied the form. He had his bets on, and the next race at Catterick was in 5 minutes. He was about to tell wee Davy behind the bar to turn the television on when young Tommy said, That a record you've got there, Joe? Joe gave him the paint stripper look. No. There was silence, uncomfortable. Then young Tommy said, The Sun? Joe sighed. This was not a conversation Joe was interested in. Davy, put that telly on Channel 4, will you? Wee Davy obliged. They were under starter's orders when young Tommy piped up again. But what paper is it then? Joe snapped. It's a fucking Racing Post. He scooped his pint as he watched the race. His horse was third. With one last gulp, he made for the door as the bar went deathly quiet, knowing Joe wouldn't be a happy man. He stopped just at the exit, like a gunslinger, remembering he had left one guy alive, turned round and said, By the way, see your season tickets and Pope visits? Well, there was a Clark on the proclamation and a Clark in the European Cup winning team. And like that, he was gone. This one is actually a true story about a great man called Gabriel Patrick Quinn, and it's kind of his story as he told it to me. And despite passing over 13 years ago now, I think we should be doing everything we can to keep Gabriel's name alive, as I'm sure you'll agree with once you hear this. The story is entitled The First Thing the Huns Saw Was Celtic, and it's from Normandy Beach, 1944. We all have people to look up to. There are varying reasons as to why we look up to other individuals, mostly personal ones. One of the people I looked up to, and still remember every day, is Gabriel Patrick Quinn. On June 6, 1944, 150,000 Allied troops landed along a 50-mile stretch of heavily fortified French coastline to fight Nazi Germany on the beaches of Normandy, France. General Dwight D. Eisenhower called the operation a crusade in which we will accept nothing less than full victory. More than 5,000 ships and 11,000 aircraft supported the invasion, and by day's end the Allies gained a foothold in France. The D-Day cost was high, with more than 9,000 Allied soldiers killed or wounded as the march across Europe to defeat Hitler began. One of the men involved was Gabriel Patrick Quinn. I say involved, that's not a strong enough word. Gabriel was in the first Bren gun carrier that landed on Sword Beach, Normandy. Gabriel was born in Townhead, Glasgow on St Patrick's Day 1924. He married Mary and they had 9 children. As war broke out in 1939, Gabriel found himself in Troop 303 Battery, Assault Division, the 3rd British Infantry. After years of loss on all sides, the big move was on. June 6, 1944, D-Day. Gabriel was waterproofing his tank with putty, and after being finished he realised he still had some left. After a few seconds, the thought came to him. He wrote on the front of his tank, Glasgow Celtic. Later, 2 of his brothers, James and Vincent, would also land in Normandy. After the battle on D-Day, Gabriel was leaving the scene, still in his Bren gun carrier, when a Sherman tank right in front of him took a direct hit. Gabriel swore to his dying day, which came in 2002, that it was either the luck of the Irish or Glasgow Celtic that had saved him. There is an afterthought to this story as well. One of Gabriel's best pals was a Catholic from the Falls Road, James Joseph McGuinness. Although Gabriel was conscripted at 18, there was no conscript in the north of Ireland, and it has to be said it was mostly Protestants who joined up. His friend would be the only winner of a Victoria Cross from Ireland. Sadly, on his return to Belfast, dignitaries stubbed him and he could not get work anywhere. He ended up selling his VC for £70 and going to England to find work. He died in a bedsit in England in 1986, and it was only years after this that Belfast began to honour him. God bless him and Gabriel. Well, I hope you enjoyed the stories. As I say, they're part of a book that will be out in the end of March, called Celtic Shots, and all the proceeds will be donated to the Kano Foundation. So have a wonderful Christmas, a happy New Year, and we'll see you again soon.